Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the L1 Link Show with Friends. Today's April 12th, and we're doing social stories to share with your friends. Also, business collapse, which is the biggest bulk of our stories.
They're not all collapse.
But there are a lot of collapse.
Things aren't good, but this is, even if things were really good, this guy would not tell us that things were fine.
Yeah, we have to remember that this guy is one of the architects of all the bad things in 2008. So he's not someone that we should trust at all, but I just thought this was fun for the collapse section because it is dire.
Jamie Dimon says the banking crisis is not over and will cause repercussions for years to come. You got to capitalize on a good crisis, right? Even if things were really good, he would position himself to say, oh, we're going to need some more money. We need free money. Please give us some free money.
This is the head of JPMorgan Chase.
I think that he does not like that we might continue tightening from the Fed because that does not benefit him. So he says the sky is falling. Maybe he can nudge that back to free money and zero interest.
I actually feel better about the banking crisis knowing that he's freaking out about it because it's probably opposite day in his world.
You know what? Probably there's not as much. They don't feel the impact of inflation quite as much in his household.
Yeah. Pretty soon, what was the presidential candidate who was like, I don't know how much a gallon of milk is, like $20?
It's a banana, Michael. How much could it cost? $10?
And one place though that is usually pretty, known for their opulence and having lots of money, they're making some drastic cuts, and you have to wonder exactly how much this is going to move the needle in terms of actual monetary value.
Google to cut down on employee laptops, services, and staplers for multi-year savings. Yeah, no more 96 gigabyte of memory MacBook laptops. There's only like 7 people that bought those anyway.
Yeah, they said that all their stuff's going to be Google only. They were like, if you're just looking to do an upgrade, we're not doing that right now.
They also pointed out that a lot of their little, you get a free massage, you get this great cafeteria and everything. And they were like, do you know how many muffins we threw away? So expect all those little perks.
The real perks of working at Google to be going away. Yeah.
And Groupon, if you're thinking to yourself, wow, Groupon, that's a name I haven't heard in a while. Yeah, nobody has. That's why they're failing.
Groupon, which has lost 99.4% of its value since its IPO, names a new CEO based in the Czech Republic.
You're basically just giving up, I think.
Yeah.
I've never used Groupon. Never been tempted to.
I don't think I've used
It actually
either.
was popular with local businesses because if you offered a coupon and like the kind of the exclusivity of it, and then you show up and it's like, oh, I've got, $2 off my coffee if I bring in 4 of my friends. Businesses loved it. People like getting stuff cheaper. It worked out, but then the novelty kind of wore off and the deals started being less good.
You mean those businesses that have been replaced by Amazon?
Yeah.
Might have something to do with it. And the saga of Binance continues. It seems that Binance's days are numbered. More and more, their headlines are just terrible. This one pretty much stops them completely in Australia.
Crypto exchange Binance has Australian Financial Services License canceled by the Australian Service License Committee people.
You had confidence in that acronym at first, and you lost it.
Yeah, I had it. I had it in my hand, and then it was like, because it's not an initialism. It's something else.
So this, as usual, has to do with Binance doing creative things with how they sell certain things, and then the people saying, no, that's a security, that's not a security. You're not allowed to market this that way, blah, blah, blah. So they're going to have to fix that, I guess, if they want to operate in Australia.
I'll be surprised if Binance survives.
And Amazon, now this is not a new layoff. It's just that more and more we're seeing the details of the Amazon layoffs. And this was the 9,000 job cuts. And from those 9,000, there's a lot of little pieces of Amazon that were just cut off completely.
Yeah.
Amazon lays off more than 100 employees in its video games division. Read the memo here. Remember that lumberyard thing they were working on and some of the other stuff? It's like, it's fine. It also seems, this article makes it seem like Andy Jassy has been personally involved with some of this, which is perhaps
I think
interesting.
he wrote the memo. You can read the memo.
Well, I read the memo,
no, that's from Hartman.
But it does seem like part of the memo that was edited out for brevity talked about how they could, the 9,000 could compete in sort of a Squid Games type competition to get their job back.
No, yeah, they said that you could get yourself hired. Remember, IBM did that.
Yeah, yeah,
And it was really just a fakery to be like, oh, nobody wants you after 6 months? Well, I guess you failed.
yeah. It's like, how important are you? It doesn't look like you're very important. Confirmed. Get out.
Yeah, that's,
What?
they're taking a page out of universities' books. 'Cause universities do that with professors a lot.
But I mean, you go to the rest of Amazon, all their different departments, and you're like, yeah, I make sprites and animate them. Who needs that?
Well, yeah, who needs that in like the sales department or
Even if they did need it, now they got AI to do it.
sad?
And Google is still trying to convince us all that their AI is just as good as everyone else's, despite all the evidence.
Google says its AI supercomputer is faster and greener than the Nvidia A100 chip. Now, they brought us hardware TensorFlow originally. And so this is a new generation of that, maybe? So this could have some teeth. Maybe.
But if it's running software that's not as good, it doesn't matter.
You're not going to be able to run CUDA on it, that's for sure.
And, we didn't have a lot of hardware stories this year, so the bar was lowered a bit. This is not that exciting, but it does point out that we are getting more and more into the death of proprietary ports, which is probably good.
Microsoft announces a $300 Surface Thunderbolt 4 dock that connects via USB-C. As someone who had to do special things to the KVM to get it to work with the original Surface dock, which was not exactly Thunderbolt, it was a multi-stream DisplayPort, I'm going to advise you not to buy this, not even having tested it, because that thing was the source of nightmare fuel.
Special things being like sacrificing a goat or
Yeah, it was bad. It was astonishingly bad.
Do you know what goats are worth in this economy?
a lot. Probably a lot more than a lot of hardware now.
And apparently there is a backlash among the youth against screen time and, constantly being controlled and advertised to. I can understand it. I guess my addiction is too strong to join them, but they have my blessing.
Dumb phones are on the rise in the US as Gen Z looks to limit screen time.
Are there very many? I mean, this picture has a lot, but like, are there even that many on the market anymore? I feel like it's hard to get dumb phones.
Most of the displays in like a T-Mobile or something, probably not, right? Because they have no interest in selling you cheap phones. But there are these companies who are cranking them out. They don't describe them as dumb phones. They describe them as, what do they call them?
Some marketing term.
Basically, it's like, you still get GPS and you can do some stuff on it, but it's annoying.
Yeah.
So you won't be tempted all day long.
I think that the ultimate Gen Z phone is probably going to be something closer to, remember the T-Mobile Sidekick, where it had its messaging app and some other things like that? It could be a phone, but it wasn't really a phone. Something like that. Or possibly the Motorola two-way pagers. Motorola had those clamshell two-way pages with a keyboard. Something like that for Gen Z, if they want to do away with like normal phone, that'd be perfect.
The best thing about that is all those 90s rap songs would be relevant again.
Your pager. I mean, if you had a phone that physically could not receive voice calls as the two-way pagers were, but everything else worked, that would be pretty cool.
I'm just describing a tablet at that point.
A tablet with a cellular modem. Yeah.
If you're cool and she's satisfied, why did she just page me? And the teens are not just backing or have a backlash against the smartphones. It seems that they are not looking for any of this new technology that's being pushed upon them.
American teens are not excited about virtual reality with only 4% using it daily.
But like, let's look at the cost, like to get the headset, and then you have to have space for it. And a lot of teens still live with their parents. Is that surprising to anybody?
I'm surprised how many people enjoy just going for a walk.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
a
one
lot
of them.
fun.
Wait, why was it? But if it's fun, then why does it surprise you that people like it?
Because they're so, like you read all the articles and you look at all the stuff with Gen Z and it's like, constantly glued to the thing and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, they're going outside. They're putting their phone down. They're like, oh, I'm spending a lot of time looking at the screen. I should go for a walk and enjoy some trees, touch some grass.
Yeah, that is literally an insult for Gen Z is touch grass.
But it's a good job. Nicely done. It turns out I like going for a walk too, even as, insane as I am.
Well, you know what's going to really push people into taking longer walks and spending more time touching grass? the being priced out of the car market because an average car these days is a ridiculous high. Like a trucks
Oh my
start at
gosh.
$50,000. A standard truck is like $70,000. It's insane. And that's actually not even what's going on here. People are willing to pay these insane prices for these, but they still can't get them.
GM only sold 2 Hummer EVs in Q1. Here's why.
Because they're expensive.
Well, no, it's the supply chain.
Yeah.
They can't, whatever's in these things, probably, like ridiculous chips to provide the infotainment or whatever. They still can't get them after all this time.
Are there any shade tree mechanics that could retro convert a vehicle to run something more efficiently? Like maybe we could take a 90s Dodge van and convert it to run on hydrogen or something.
That would be illegal. You can't just put your own monstrosity on the road. It has to be cleared. You gotta get that.
This sticker.
You have to do like a salvage license for it, right? You have to total it, rebuild it by a certified rebuilder, get the salvage title.
It has to pass inspection.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can tell you that the inspection people, they really don't like it when they find mason jars under the hood.
And for all of you keyboard hipsters out there, there's maybe an exciting new thing. The cost is absolutely ridiculous. And
That's so clicky, though.
God,
There's
who
a
would-
video of it.
who would pay this much money for a keyboard and wait 8 months to get it delivered?
New models of IBM Model F keyboard Mark II incoming. New layouts for the original clicker. It's clickier than the Model M keyboard.
It is indeed when you watch the video. It's very, very loud.
So it's an M layout Model F. And actually, we had been working for years on a prototype that would let you convert a Unicomp Model M into a Model F. And you could order the dude that's making the springs and stuff for this. You could just order the springs and flappers from him and shove it in your own Unicomp Model M. So $100 for the keyboard and $100 for the springs. And it still comes out cheaper than this with the same clicking experience. You get a printed circuit board from us or whatever. It's fine. But yeah, it's exciting because it's the ultimate mechanism. And the F mechanism is in key rollover, unlike the Model M, which is only 2 key rollover, which is very sad.
Yeah.
Your mic will pick it up, though. Just FYI.
It's only $400.
Think how much mulch you could get for that.
It's $400, but it's one of the few keyboards that has a proven track record of lasting. I'm using one that's from 1986.
Well, when it comes to like just inflicting misery on the world around you, and did you guys, I don't know if they updated this. I didn't ever see a motive here.
No, I never saw motive either.
We don't know why they did this, but it was clearly very specifically planned to cause as much outage as possible. This should be the death penalty.
2 charged in Norwalk vandalism that caused thousands of internet outages in Connecticut. I actually thought that, just every sentence in this was, and then we figured out they were state actors. And then the FBI showed up and it's like they had been wanted for whatever, but that's not how it ends.
Maybe they don't want to tell us that.
Yeah.
I don't know what gain you could get from this.
It seems odd that they knew exactly where to target the infrastructure. That's definitely an unanswered question.
Maybe these are disgruntled millennials and they're trying to get everybody to touch grass through violence. Well, Walmart has put out some of their corporate planning, the things they plan to do going forward to deal with the new reality of the world around us. And as many people predicted long ago, a lot of that has to do with replacing employees with robots.
Walmart defines timeline for an automation push.
2026.
That's fast.
Yeah.
The robots that they got demos of the last couple of years must have impressed them.
So
This will probably be like warehouse jobs, correct?
Right. It's not in the stores. It's the distribution centers. So when the items are getting routed to the various stores and the just-in-time inventory system, a lot of that's going to be automatic from now on.
If you're ever in New York City and you have a chance to visit the B&H store, you should definitely do that because they have that in their store. They've got high ceilings, and that's what's going on the ceiling above you is all those little robots shuttling things around, and it's amazing.
It's like Victoria with the logistics robots.
And that's New York City. The reason they did that is because the real estate there is so expensive. But imagine a much larger scale version of that 20 years in the future. because that's what Walmart is doing, and it's going to be 20 years beyond what you see there. So it's going to be pretty nuts.
I remember when I was a kid, Service Merchandise had that system where you would look at the model, the floor model, and then you would buy the thing and it would roll out on the conveyor belt. And I was like, oh my God, this is the future. Yeah. Well, when the first conflict started in Ukraine, it was every week we got a new company that was done with Russia. They were moving out. Some have held on for quite some time, but they made up for their lack of leaving early with the how dramatic their exit was.
Cisco Systems pulled out of Russia and destroyed $23.42 million worth of equipment. I guess the last guy out not only turned the lights on, but when he boarded the helicopters, he tossed his cigar into the pool of diesel on the ground, which we learned from Mythbusters. It won't actually catch on fire.
I bet I think it will on the ground. It's standing.
I haven't seen
liquid.
that episode.
Because what catches is the vapors, and when it's on the ground, the vapors have room to. Maybe not. I don't know.
Mythbusters did something with that. It was harder to set on fire than advertised.
Engagement challenge. Have you seen that episode of Mythbusters? And correct us if we're wrong.
But I guess these guys looked at like McDonald's, for example.
Yeah.
McDonald's was like, all right, we're leaving Russia, and Russia was like, okay, we're keeping everything, and we're going to start our own version of McDonald's, and it's still going today.
Yeah.
McDowell's. We got the golden arcs. They got the golden arches. It's different.
And this, we don't have a lot of details still about this one.
This hasn't updated. I don't
you have to wonder if maybe something weird happened here, but F's in the chat. I mean, I guess you could argue maybe this guy didn't do good things for the world, but he did a lot of things that a lot of you are using.
Bob Lee died. He created Cash App, and he's the former CTO of Square. He was stabbed. This is not good.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this was random homeless person attacked him or...
It was 2:35 a.m. So it could be that.
Yeah.
He was coming home to, I guess, his like luxury apartment and got stabbed outside of it.
That's crazy.
A lot of stabbings lately. This, I hate to say it, but I might have to move to Edge.
No.
This will push me over. I hate this so much. I'm willing to give Microsoft another chance just based on this feature.
Microsoft is making it easier to block annoying autoplay videos in Edge. You'll be able to fully block web videos from automatically playing in Microsoft's Edge browser.
Apparently this feature does not work very well, according to the comments on this article.
I would be surprised if it did. I also need them to remove when it pulls the video down to the lower right.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
That's what I really hate.
There used to be some really good plugins for Chrome to take care of that, but now that the plugins...
Chrome is the way it is.
Yeah, Chrome made the changes with the plugins is the first nail in the coffin, and then the second nail in the coffin is they really haven't policed the apps, the plugins, and so now there's a lot more awful plugins, and the plugins are less functional than they used to be because they were really good at blocking ads, and so it's just...
It's a bit of a conflict of interest when you run an ad business and a browser business.
Yeah.
Of course, Microsoft.
Yeah.
It's not like they're the hero here.
It's a bit of a conflict of interest when you license people's operating systems and also want to sell them cloud services.
But Microsoft has had a little bit of a shot in the arm when it comes to their argument about acquiring the Activision Blizzard. And it seems that Sony, now having all of their demands met, never really cared about those demands in the first place. It was all about just not letting this happen.
Sony worries Microsoft will only give it a quote-unquote degraded version of Call of Duty. Now, this isn't the first time Sony made this argument. They've been making this argument for like 6 months now, and Microsoft keeps giving them covenant after covenant after covenant, promise after promise after promise after promise in their... And now Sony is like, we can weaponize this. So I think Sony's asking for a lot more now, even after Microsoft has already promised not to do that. Of course, if you make a deal with the devil.
Yeah.
What if it's two devils making a deal among themselves?
They need a non-devil mediator.
Referee.
With an archdemon standing over them,
Ugh.
It's like,
managing.
Now, how can they screw each other here? Okay. How can we turn this into a monkey's paw situation for them so they realize what they're doing?
No, we'll just be screwed either way.
And when you're looking at it from that perspective of, not an angel and a devil, but just various devils competing, This one makes a little bit more sense because how can I lock down other people's ability to scrape your data while myself still scraping all of your data?
Google will require that Android apps let you delete your account and data.
That'll include Google apps, right? I won't need an account to use my phone anymore?
Can I just regenerate my advertiser ID constantly? No. Okay.
And Google Drive, they decided, much like their Gmail decision a while back, they decided, hey, people are using our services for free and we don't like that. Let's immediately change it without any warning.
After disrupting businesses, Google Drive's secret file cap is dead for now. So if you had more than 5 million files in Google Drive, even if you were paid business customers, it would stop working and say, oh, you got to delete a bunch of files. And it really disrupted a lot of stuff. Now in this, Google said, oops, we rolled it back. Sorry, we'll try to communicate with you in the future. But the silence there is Ron Howard saying, spoiler, they didn't.
Yeah.
Because it's never been that way with Google. It's never been that way with YouTube. It's never been that way with Gmail. It's never been that way with Google Plus, GChat, the chat program whose name I can't remember that came before Google Voice.
Just go to the website that's the graveyard of Google products.
Oh, don't forget about Waze. They changed the way Waze worked 3 or 4 times, and then they integrated it. But this time, we're going to communicate with users from now on.
And YouTube DL, what a great little app that is. It's so good. It lets you download not just YouTube stuff, but any kind of CDN video. It's wonderful. And the RIAA and the MPAA hate it oh so desperately. God, they want to be rid of it. Now, they weren't able to get it off of GitHub. Well, they worked very temporarily, but the backlash was too strong. However, that does not stop them from attacking it in every other vector.
Music labels win legal battle against YouTube DL's hosting provider. This was in Germany, and this was in a court that historically always sides with the large corporations. A lot of people are saying they're going to appeal and, blah, blah, blah. But YouTube DL also, there's a more advanced version of this called YDL, I think. So PSA, you might want to look at YDL instead of YouTube DL because it has more features and can do this same thing from other things other than YouTube DL or other than YouTube.
Of course, we would never condone taking music offline.
Yeah, unless you have the right to because of assistive technologies or archival or home taping or whatever.
We would never do that.
But it's also true that it's still on GitHub. So you don't need to go to the website. Just get it from GitHub.
It's also true that the judge's reasoning here would prevent the existence of the VCR. You could not do any kind of home taping at all.
Which is exactly what they want.
Yeah.
Yeah, the VCR was almost illegal here. It was by the skin of its teeth. It's as close as you can be without going over. Would have won the Price is Right. They would have taken home everything.
And like we were just talking about, boy, wouldn't it be great if you could have a phone that didn't require a Google account, other than Apple and,
That also require accounts, yeah.
Too much self-respect for that. And some people said, you know what, let's make that a reality. And they started doing this really cool thing. And hey, just shocking, we can't figure out quite who, but someone has attacked it. And they used a system of attack that we've talked about before, which has no consequences for lying.
Free Google Play alternative, MicroG, framed in bogus, quote-unquote, Vanced DMCA notices.
So they tried to get all of this stuff taken down, saying that they owned it, whoever filed these. They got in touch with the people who they thought might have done that, and they got some very broken English replies that they couldn't quite decipher, but it seemed like they were denying it. So we don't know who did it. We don't know why they did it. And there's nothing we can do about it because there's no punishment for false DMCA. It's amazing how corrupt that system is.
Yeah, I hate it.
Considering how corrupt all of our other systems is, that one in particular.
That is way worse.
And Google is bringing a feature that it only had to its phones to Windows. Once again, the Microsoft-Google partnership, even though they're fighting on some fronts, they are friends on others.
Google brings, quote-unquote, nearby share to Windows, making it easier to transfer files. This is because the Windows companion is almost not awful at this point, and Google knows that a lot of people are starting to use that, and that one's from Microsoft.
Isn't this just AirDrop?
Yeah, but we have been suffering without AirDrop for a long time because Google really cannot get its crap together on software. It is so frustrating.
And those of you who are, you're going to be destitute soon, you're not going to be able to afford food or whatever, and you're thinking,
or whatever, just stuff you need to survive.
Healthcare. You're thinking, how am I going to keep gaming? well, you're going to have to go to web games. But the good news is
Ugh.
web games are going to get so much better.
Chrome 113 to ship with WebGPU by default. This is an API wrapper to your graphics card. Think of it like Vulkan or DirectX. It's got a little bit more overhead than that, but this should enable a whole new generation of games. And also should be Exhibit A in the antitrust trial against Apple, because Apple is never going to permit this in their browser because they want you to use an app, because they make money when you use an app. And if you have a web app that is a progressive web app and it runs really well, that hurts Apple. So they deliberately sabotage the performance there.
Also, interestingly, this will only be on Windows. They will not roll it out to Linux until what they say is a later date. We don't know what that date is.
Sometime after the heat death of the universe.
And man, Google Auto, what's the name of it?
Android Auto.
Android Auto.
Yeah.
That
Garbage.
used to be absolute garbage. I've not used it in a while, but it was hot trash.
Yeah.
But the great thing about it is it wasn't married to your car. So if you get a new phone or there's a new version or whatever, then it's going to be nice. You don't have to deal with your phone or your car trying to update constantly and whatever. And GM looked at that and they were like, nah, we want it to be the other way.
GM plans to phase out Apple CarPlay in EVs with Google's help.
So you're going to get a permanent version in the car, no longer on the phone. It's going to do all the same things, but Apple will be left out in the cold here.
You know how Gen Z's looking for dumb phones? I'm kind of just looking for dumb cars at this point.
Yeah, I don't understand why we don't have a standard for display and touch input. Like, those are things that should be pretty basic things. We almost have that with TVs. There's Chromecast and there's AirPlay, which are terrible and incompatible. Okay, never mind.
But do you have any idea how much they mark up the price of that car because of the infotainment?
Yeah.
If you could just go buy one for $500 and have it installed, no one would get the one from the factory.
Yeah, what was it? There was an optional center armrest for my car, and the dealer was like, "Oh, that's $800," and I was like, "No." I went online and ordered it for $80.
The new thing now is the nitrogen fee.
Oh,
They do the nitrogen fee
so stupid.
because there's not enough of it. They should
Real problem.
They should work with the Dutch.
That's nitrogen gas. Oh, how cool would it be if you filled your tires with ammonia? It turns out it's like, oh, industrial waste is your tire filling thing. That sounds like something Edward Bernays would come up with. Spent nuclear fuel in your tires will give you a smooth ride.
And then, when your tire pops, that's fine. Don't question
You
that.
joke about that, but we use it for bullets. Well, if you call this a podcast, I guess you call this a podcast. This might be one of the last podcasts in the universe that isn't sponsored by Audible.
Well, we've turned down Audible sponsorships well into the 5 figures because of their questionable ethics.
They are very questionable. They're very annoying, and their business model is ridiculous. You get like one book a month or something for a subscription. And apparently that's not working out too well in the economic collapse, so they're making some concessions.
Audible is testing ad-supported access to select titles for non-members. Audible literally doesn't let authors publish anything without DRM, and when you get rid of Audible, it deletes all of your books, which is a level of dystopian future that I can't. Like, I love audiobooks. I actually like to read and listen to an audiobook at the same time. Well, certain kinds of books, not every book, but for some books that I really like, that's a lot of fun.
How would you ever match the speed?
I don't seem to have a problem with it.
I'm not an auditory learner. I can't listen to books like that. I have to look at them and read
I
them.
changed my mind about it. And actually, you know what? I meant to do a video about this. I completely forgot about it. But Audio Bookshelf, great piece of software. Runs in Docker. And I've been really using that a lot. When I cook, Audio Bookshelf and the Bluetooth headsets.
I got to give that a try because I found some software that does the syncing thing. You know, the bookmark, like the thing that you've read, syncing annotation thing. I finally found some software that works reasonably well to do that and lets you get at it across a whole bunch of devices.
It does it beautifully for audiobooks.
Yeah,
And
we got to do a video on all
if
that.
you put it in the cloud, it'll keep you, and you can stream it. That's great. I run it locally, but it's still great.
If you're bored out there in TV land and we need to put together an Ansible script or a Docker container or something so that you go from a freshly installed TrueNAS or Unraid or whatever you want to run to this appliance that gives you Nextcloud and Ubiquity and Jellyfin and the Jellyfin bookshelf plugin and the thing Ryan's talking about and maybe a couple other things, so that you just drop stuff into folders and then it just populates in whatever the application is. That is the future of the home server.
That would be crushed.
By the it's like, here's my configuration script.
DMCA. Let me show you 5,000 DMCA.
It's an illegal Ansible script? How is that possible? Because it's so easy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Tinder apparently is also trying to raise a little bit more cash from their users by, I don't really understand exactly what this gives you, other than maybe just like
Exclusivity.
it
Yeah.
keeps you away from the other plebs. But don't you want to cast a wider net in this situation?
I guess it depends.
Yes, Tinder is working on a $500 subscription tentatively called Tinder Vault.
I assume this might be for like the use case for this if you're like a celebrity or some other really wealthy person, where it's like, I can't date people at a lower level than me, maybe because of pride or maybe because like normal people don't understand what I go through.
That exists. And I don't remember what the name of it is, but like they will not let you register unless you get a nomination from X number of other users who are already on it.
Wow.
So like, I'm a super celebrity, so I have this super celebrity dating app, and I could sponsor you, not alone. You need more than just me.
Yeah.
I could sponsor you into it so we keep the pearls out of it.
I guess Tinder's trying to do that here. Apparently they already have a paid subscription tier, but it's like $10 a month.
But they're doing it they're trying to make money. This other one is like, no, we're seriously just don't want you here.
Yeah.
You can't pay us to get in here. That's how we roll. And Amazon, we've talked about a lot that now that they're scaling back, all those acquisitions that they gobbled up during the fat times are the first to go.
Amazon to close Book Depository online shop.
So these guys tried to do more obscure books, not just bestsellers. Mm-hmm. And Amazon was like, yeah, that doesn't make as much money.
This is also in the UK, I think.
And now all those weird little niche hobby books are gone forever.
Rip.
Yeah.
And Monster Energy is, I'm amazed how popular it is considering how bad it tastes.
That's true of any energy drink for me. I don't think any of them taste good.
They sell caffeine pills, right?
You could just, take and...
You don't have to drink the nasty sugar water. You could just just eat the caffeine pills. But anyway, people love it. And they've decided that because they are gamer fuel, then that puts them in the gaming world, and other gamers, game studios should not be competing with their trademark.
Monster Energy goes after indie dev for using the word monster.
Not even Monster Energy, just Monster.
And there's the proposed legal settlement was so onerous. This indie dev's like, I'm just going to publish all the stuff their lawyer says and see if I can just deal with this legally because it's insane. And it is insane. Monster Energy should know better.
So the name of the game is Dark Deception, Monsters and Mortals. So it's the subtitle which has the word Monster in it.
We should all go buy that.
Oh, it could be terrible, but...
Doesn't matter. Want to give this guy money to
fight,
We're basically funding the court
legal
battle
defense,
here. So they wanted a guarantee. They said you can keep it, but we want to guarantee you'll never use the word monster in another game title. You have to change your logo because it has the color green in it, and that's our color.
Not even like the exact CMYK. It's just green in general.
And God bless this guy, Vincent Livings. He might just be reporting on it. But anyway, whoever this developer was like, no, we will go to court for this. I hope they win.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll have to keep an eye on this.
I don't have a lot of hope, but I do hope. I just contradict myself there. I hope they win, but I don't have a lot of hope that they will.
Jury trial once again.
Well, Mr. Elon Musk, although somewhat deflated by the fact that someone leaked this online before he had a chance to.
We talked about this last week.
Decided to do a little transparency. He lived up to his word. It was not an April Fool's joke.
A new era of transparency for Twitter. Oh, here's the algorithm. I like how it has the Elon classification.
Yeah. We have another. We should, I think. Is it
I
the
didn't
next
put
step?
it in there, but you can talk about it.
So if you look at the actual source code, there are 4 types of users on Twitter, according to this. It's Elon Musk, power user, Democrat, or Republican.
Well, that's not 4 types of users on Twitter. It's 4 types of users that get to bypass the usual controls to be pushed. They get special treatment.
Would you consider? Are you a power user?
I don't. Sometimes I think so, and sometimes not. I don't know. My own little corner of the universe is pretty obscure.
How do they define power user? Is it just someone who's just like losing their mind on Twitter every day?
I would have to get, I'm guessing here, but I guess it has to do with ad revenue, right?
Or maybe people who have the blue check, maybe they call them power users internally.
Well, not anymore.
Oh, yeah.
I'd say it has to do with who's actually like generating what they want on Twitter, right? Like if you're getting a lot of attention and it's the stuff they like and the people following you click on ads and so forth, you probably get stuff there.
Bizarre.
And once again, you know, he seems to enjoy spitting in the face of the authorities because he was already warned about this kind of behavior, but he decided to do it anyway.
Dogecoin soars after Twitter replaces its Bluebird logo with the token's dog.
I thought maybe this was like a belated April Fool's thing, but it's still up. Like as of this recording, it's still the logo.
Because obviously.
I don't know if they posted it here. No, yeah, but he has a tweet, an old tweet, where someone came along and was like, hey, Elon, you should buy Twitter and change the bird logo to the dog. And he was like, LOL. And so he did it. It did have a considerable price on Dogecoin, or a price effect on Dogecoin. That's a lot. Not quite double, but they're doing well.
They have so many other things to investigate, and now this is just one more for the pile.
Maybe that's the tactic, right?
Just flood them with paperwork.
So many violations, they can't keep up with them. And those of you who live and die on social media would certainly need to fear this man. And it might not even be one man. This might be an organization. We don't know. But he is very effective, and he's taking advantage of the fact that social media doesn't actually care about individuals.
A scammer who tricks Instagram into banning influencers has never been identified. We may have found him.
The thing I mostly took away from this article was that there are people who get paid like $5,000 to post about a brand on Instagram.
It's wild.
Yeah.
But it's easy to take away from him because he is able to abuse the reporting system to get them banned. And what they've discovered is there is no way to get to a human being and explain that. Like they have a really good case that they did nothing wrong. And he goes after people who have kind of borderline content. Like you were talking about earlier, where's the line between Instagram thoughts and pornography, right? So he goes up over people who have that kind of stuff on their site. And if a human being does look at that, they're going to spend 12 seconds scrolling. And it's like, okay, that's why I click. So he weaponizes it and he takes ransom payments to give people their stuff back, which is, it makes sense if you're making $5,000 a day to give him $5,000.
Yeah.
And if you're thinking, wow, that's crazy, I hope they improve that. Well, don't hold your breath. It's never going to get improved because now that they're cutting, guess what they're cutting?
Meta's layoffs reportedly gutting its new customer service teams. Not just influencers, businesses and group admins and people that are giving Meta money aren't going to get any customer service because Google doesn't have any customer service people. Why should we?
Now, there is one way that you can skip the line here and actually talk to a human being, and that is by paying $12 a month in subscription fees.
Can you just pay the $12 the one time and then? No.
Well,
Maybe that's the price of being an influencer is the $12 a month.
I wonder if they would flag that eventually. You might be able to get away with that.
Probably.
And Reddit, they have a lot of complaints about people posting nasty stuff on there. It is impossible to police. I don't know how anybody's expected to do it, but they're doing more of it.
Reddit says it's banning more people than ever in big transparency push. A lot more people sitting at home and angry.
I'm astonished. They talk about the CSAM on here. I'm astonished how many people post that stuff on Facebook and Reddit and think that they have any sort of anonymity. That's crazy. And TikTok, they have a problem in that their user base is very young. That's what you want if you're into social media, but it is also illegal.
TikTok fined nearly 16 million by the UK watchdog over misuse of children's data.
Oh no, 16
million. How will we ever afford that? They just write a check immediately. Price of doing business. Thank you.
I guess we'll have the corporate staff skip lunch tomorrow.
Yeah. We'll cut back on staplers.
I mean, if you told Mark Zuckerberg that he could pay $16 million and get data on all the children in the UK, he'd be like, here, have 32.
Yeah, give us, you know what? Let's prepay for next year.
Yeah.
What about prenatal? Can we look at that?
That's
How much for
absolutely a
that?
thing. I think I mentioned, it was a few weeks ago, my friend had a baby. And like, she had the baby and I was talking to her about the baby. And then all of a sudden I was seeing ads for like breast pumps everywhere.
And
I
now
know.
you have a new flag on your profile.
Yeah, it's like, oh, has friends who are pregnant, may become pregnant soon. Like, quick, advertise to her.
And our final story, I don't want to encourage this technically, but I would once again nullify if I could get on this jury. Absolutely.
YouTuber shot at Virginia Mall food court while filming a prank and says he'll keep pranking after recovery.
What was the prank? Did it say in this article?
No,
I didn't say.
There's no context. I was trying to think if this dude is pranking this other dude and maybe would think that he's about to be attacked, that's and this person, you know, pulls a gun and shoots him, that's probably okay. But if this guy was just angry at that guy, like, and he lost his temper and shot him, then yeah, that's not okay. He should be arrested.
I went to this guy's YouTube
disagree.
channel and some of the pranks were like spitting on people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's assault.
It's awful stuff that he's doing. And his dad defended him. It was like, oh, I can't believe this is happening. Believe it, bro. This needs to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want anyone to be shot, but like, don't be surprised when you spit on someone or whatever he
Just
did that someone might.
Some people need to be shot.
It is kind of a FAFO situation, you know, so.
Anyway, you know, let's hope that this guy doesn't get convicted and there's another person out there with the same kinds of low tolerances as soon as he gets out of the hospital and starts pranking again.
Yeah, and from the hospital, he's like, I'm going to keep doing it. He got shot through the stomach and the liver. They patched him up. He's going to live. You
His
know.
channel wasn't even that big. Like, what is wrong with people?
The doctors, the staff at that hospital should just constantly prank him with health scares.
Oh, we found something on your
They're
scan.
like, oh my God, it's stage 4 lymphoma, and just let him, you know, percolate for a couple of hours.
No, they should do the thing where they give him the anesthesia, but they don't tell him, and it's like, oh, you're flatlining, oh, because you'll be conscious for a second or two there as your heart stops, and then you know, you wake up 10 minutes later, it's like, surprise, you're still alive.
It's a prank, bro.
Yeah,
And then when he wakes up, they've amputated something. Prank.
that was a joke in the Orville, which is actually kind of funny, but also horrifying. They're like, yeah.
Anyway, that's it for this episode. We'll see you guys on
got
Friday.
so much nonsense for Friday. It's going to be crazy.
A lot of AI stories, as we'll continue to see that as a trend.
Yeah, that's the new big news thing. It's pushing out all the other kinds of news.
Bye.